Let's get started on this. There's a story across the papers today. The arrest of the Father Ted creator Graham Linehan over something he posted on X. So, Sun front page. I'm surprised we're allowed to show this, but apparently we are. Britain's fecked. I think that's really offensive, actually, as a front page in a newsagent.
Well, it's the...
I just think I don't want to see that.
No. Well,
anyway,
don't.
With a picture of Ted and Linehan. The paper also quotes Graham Linehan, saying he was treated like a terrorist. Daily Telegraph front page. Starmer attacks Met over trans tweet arrest. So even Keir Starmer here has been telling the police, concentrate on serious crime after Linehan's arrest. So give me your thoughts. Well, we will talk about the actual tweet, what Linehan said in just a tick, but are you concerned that the police are overreaching here, Nelifar?
Yes. The recent policing and crimes bill has given the police unfathomable amounts of power. And this is just the trickle-down impact of what something like that can do. So we live in a Britain today where it appears that you could go to jail for telling a joke, or certainly you can be detained for telling a joke. And this is an overreach that is, we have to be serious about how much of an overreach this is. And if Keir Starmer's saying this, well, he was part of a government that passed, supported this kind of a bill. So this is essentially the ramifications of what can only be described as serious hindrance to liberty and freedoms in this country.
What do you think, Carol? We'll see the tweets in just a sec.
Yeah, I think the Met Police, I think this is proof positive that the Met Police and others have been radicalised. They've become the protective arm of the trans movement. It's like they're an offshoot of Stonewall. It is disturbing, outrageous. It is against free speech. This guy's career has been wrecked because of his opposition to the trans ideology. And that's exactly what it is. It's an unproven
it certainly has been
ideology.
wrecked. Yeah, he says he's married. Let's recap then what was tweeted. This is the most important thing to do, because this will put the conversation in context. I should just apologise and say the comments he posted may be offensive to some viewers, so I say that in advance. Come over here and I'll show you. This is his exact tweet. And he doesn't like the trans thing. If a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he's committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. That's what he says. He then posts a photo of a crowd of people holding transgender flags, where he tweets, a photo you can smell. And his final tweet, he says, I hate them, misogynists and homophobes, and then expletive M. We know what's going on there. I know you might not agree with it, but does he have to be arrested? You both think no.
There is no right in this country not to be offended. In a democratic society, you have no right not to be offended.
Constraints on free speech, Carol. You cannot go on Twitter or Instagram and say, I wish someone would stamp on Jeremy's head.
But that's inciting violence, for which it is a crime.
And you think this is not that?
Nothing in this tweet was.
Nothing.
Kick him in the...
There is nothing...
That was a joke. The guy's a comedian. He's actually
they always
said the
say
last...
it's a joke.
No, but it is. That's a Father Ted
Let's look at the context clues, and let's then look at the disproportionate 5 armed police officers knocking on your door, coming in.
No, they didn't knock on his door. They arrested him at
the airport. I don't know why they had to be armed. That's weird.
And does it take 5 cops to arrest one comedian? There's a joke. 5 cops to arrest one comedian? No, it doesn't. He could have been talked to at home quietly.
I find what you said repugnant.
5
I find it
cops.
repulsive. However, I think I live in a country where you are allowed to say repugnant, repulsive things that I disagree with inherently.
I tell you what I think interesting, I think where the line may be, is where you are constantly attacking an individual and it's a named person. Then it becomes more of a policing... Yeah, it becomes... So having been involved in a case where a stalker was attacking a number of individual people, It's different to this, which is a general comment.
And you have a right to say you dislike or disagree with the trans movement. But what I think is a lot of police forces in this country have shown their hatred of free speech, but also their hatred of women. Because there's a part of that tweet I totally agree with when he says if a trans man is in a female-only space, tell him to get out of it. Well, I would. I'd be one of those people that say get out.
I've got a friend who's trans. She has transitioned. She's been fully physically transitioned. She was in makeup here 8 times before anyone knew she was born a
Not
male.
all of them have, though.
No, that's fair enough. And God, we've been into this argument so many times. Obviously, when you're looking at Adam Graham, the multiple rapist in Scotland, who shows up in court wearing the same shade of pink as you and a blonde wig and says, I'm a woman and I want to go in a woman's jail. You've got to say, sorry, mate.
Yes.
Who are you kidding? And the fact that he even went near a women's jail is
Can we get back to the point of the story, which is a man makes joke, gets arrested. This isn't a trial of the right of trans people to exist.
But you're right. OK, it's not the first time people have been arrested over comments on Twitter. Journalist Alison Pearson, famous case, visited by police for a hate crime incident, or it was called, basically, I think it was called was it called a non-hate crime incident?
Yes, it was, yes.
It's a really weird thing, non-hate crime. And it was about something she tweeted. So it was basically she used the phrase Jew haters about some people who were associated with the Palestinian flag, but they also had the police near them. The most famous case is probably Lucy Connolly. And this is a celebrated or notorious case where she was jailed for stirring up racial hatred against asylum seekers after a misjudged post on X, which she took down.
Wait,
you think that's different?
Really important. Hold on. This is really important. Putting them in the same bracket is weird. It's an odd thing to choose to do. Lucy
she went to jail.
Yeah, because she incited hatred and wanted to burn down refugees in a hotel, which is different.
She didn't want to.
Which is different to saying, "Oh gosh, I don't like trans people."
She was probably in her cup.
They are
and
incomparable.
She tweeted something stupid.
They are
and took it
incomparable.
down.
I'm sorry, the Lucy Connolly.
You're saying stick to the story.
Let Carol talk.
But she never lets me talk.
No.
Hang on. Sorry, Carol wants to come back in. Hang on.
I want to come on the Lucy Connolly thing.
Yes, I know.
People do say things when they're very upset. The reason Lucy Connolly said what she said at the time was because she very tragically lost a child, and her reaction was to those little girls.
I don't care.
Can I finish, please?
No,
her reaction was to those girls in Southport being murdered, and that's why she got rid of it very, very quickly. And they're totally different things.
But it was a violent thing.
And it wasn't about, but they're saying that this incites violence. This does not.
Can absolutely
I?
miraculous.
No, but you've got to let her come in a bit.
Yes, I will let her come
Carol,
in, but I want to say, so what Linehan said doesn't begin to compare to what that councillor Ricky Jones said, where he was calling for people to slit other people's throats.
Oh, yes.
That is
that's
inciting.
Another case. Okay.
That's inciting.
Maybe we should just. Could we have a rule that says nothing that goes on social media is a crime? No, we couldn't have that.
No, we couldn't have that.
No, that wouldn't work. Okay, look, let's move on after the break.